Welcome back, fans of improvised music. You have reached the Khyber Pass podcast, where each week we invite a performer from that week's concert at the Khyber Pass Cafe. They share with us a bit of their history, some of their intentions inside music, perhaps a glimpse into the uncharted exploration of sound. I'm your host, Paul Metzger. As always, the podcast is brought to you by the Khyber Pass Cafe, located on Grand Avenue in St. Paul, Minnesota, featuring authentic Afghan cuisine. The food is prepared according to old family recipes handed down. Top quality ingredients are used for the preparation of their food, all natural ingredients. The lamb is naturally raised New Zealand spring lamb. It's the best lamb in the world. I could go on and on. Please visit the restaurant voted the best Middle Eastern for 2019. Our guest this week is Mankwe Ndosi, a gifted improviser and explorer of the depths of the human condition, the social human condition. Snippets of our histories float in and about the room, alongside with her natural exquisite talent and charisma, sets a stage of performance that captures the listener. This week I have a short excerpt of her performance at the Khyber Pass Cafe Thursday evening music series. After that, an interview exploring some of her past and revealing that not everything can be learned, not everything is for sale. Some things simply are. I hope you enjoy this week's podcast as we begin now.
Losing ready for anything. Oh, gotta get loose. Oh, losing your arms on your torso. Losing all your plans on your day. Ooh, losing all your thoughts for the future. Ooh, losing all your vagrancy, ooh, losing out your loyalty, ooh, the electricity does.
Mankwe.
Paul.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how to pronounce your last name other than Ndosi, but
Ndosi.
That's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
It
is.
Ndosi. I'd like to say thanks for coming. Thanks for performing here tonight and being willing to present some of your work solo at the Khyber Pass. We're real excited for it.
Yeah, well, I love the space, and it's been one of the few places that's been consistently supporting, creative music, improvisation, stretching for a long time. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, those are all the things that we think are good.
Yes.
So I'd like to start with you with sort of your history as a young person, going back before any formal music. I don't know how much formal music or anything like that is part of what your history is, but into that zone, you feel me? Like,
you mean beforehand?
A little bit, yeah. Like,
What do you curious about?
Well, I'm curious about, like, I mean, you're a kid, yeah, I assume.
I was a kid, yes.
Yeah, you were a kid.
Yes.
And the idea of music, I mean, kids have a musicality and they're doing it, but then there can be that little thing that sometimes perks up a little kid's ear and they dig on it in a different way.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And so I'm interested in those moments and kind of what follows and weaves its way to performance.
Yeah, so I grew up in Minneapolis until I was 7, and then my parents moved out to Golden Valley. So I was there until college. And my father was from East Africa. He was from Tanzania, the mountains in Tanzania, where there are flowers just everywhere, just growing, because it's a tropical climate. So he was a big flower gardener. And he also was at the University of Minnesota. When I was born, he was a graduate student in economics there.
Okay.
And he brought music over from East and South Africa. He was really into South African music. He had a lot of Miriam Makeba and also like classical music, a lot of classical music, and occasionally Beatles, a few things like that.
So this is stuff
Herb Alpert, things like that I would hear around. And then he also played the piano. He taught himself how to play the piano. So my father used to play the piano to soothe himself, to take himself to another
What's
way.
he playing? Is he playing tunes or is he playing...
I mean, he would have... It was classical, so he would play Beethoven, Brahms, Chopin, Debussy, Bach, some Mozart. That's what I heard. That's the kind of live music that I heard in the house. And then I heard lots of music on the radio, you know, contemporary pop music that was on the radio, as well as his records. The one, I think the person that I often think of as like my first voice teacher was Miriam Makeba, and listening to her. And he also had international music from around the world because he was the head of the Foreign Students Association for a period of time. So we had visitors in our home from Japan and from Germany and from China and from different parts of the continent of Africa, some from Europe. So I got a chance to be introduced to sounds and the way the voice was used differently in different cultures. So I didn't have, I guess my frame was a little wider in terms of what I thought the voice could do. Particularly Miriam Makeba in terms of the different clicks that happen in the Xhosa, which I know I'm mispronouncing. And just how resonant and how emotion-filled her music was. So she was definitely one of them. I speak about the flowers in the gardens also because the other part for me was listening to the world and the musicality around me, even though I didn't have that as a framework or as a way of thinking in my brain at that time. So I would like to imitate. I still remember when we were on the West Bank. We're sort of down from where they're kind of gray right now, like the gray, almost brownstones. There are very few like brownstone-like buildings in the Twin Cities or in Minneapolis, but these are kind of like those. That's kind of that's where I grew up. Okay. And so I liked to try to imitate animals to make them think I was the animal.
See, I love that. That's so right.
So as a small child, I remember distinctly one of my first successes was a cat that lived across the way in the basement apartment, because we lived in the basement apartment. Yeah. And the cat that lived across the way, I would start meowing at it, and I would practice, and I would practice, and I would practice, and it was sitting in the window. And I would practice until it started to move and look for another cat. And I think after that I was hooked on singing with the world, singing with animals, singing with frogs, singing with trees, singing with thunder, which then turned into sometimes, washing machines and cars and the drone of electricity through the light or through the refrigerator or through the computer.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so I think sort of those combinations really set me up to stretch.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're right in it with some big ears, as they say, you know, like. And so, what happens then? Do you find your way into formal music lessons at all, or are you?
I've had
what
some
happens
periodic voice lessons and music lessons. I originally took piano as a young person, but I stopped I stopped when my favorite teacher moved out of town.
Yeah.
And the next teacher was I just didn't vibe with the next teacher at all. And
Yeah.
so then I stopped playing piano. Of course, that's one of the things that I super regret now as a musician. However, I did that, and then I also took some voice lessons from a teacher at McPhail, Oksana Bryn, who was from the Ukraine. She was an opera singer from the Ukraine who was teaching at McPhail. She may still be teaching at McPhail. I haven't seen her since I was a teacher with one of her students.
Yeah.
So I took more opera-style singing lessons through a lot of high school.
Oh, okay. So through high school, you're going to McPhail, and the voice was feeling, even then, like as what your instrument was. You dig, like.
I think that was feeling like my instrument, certainly. I didn't necessarily think I was going to be a musician. I was in the theater. Theater was actually my first genre, and so a lot of my thinking about music was oriented toward the stage in that way. Then I did in school, all of the school, I went to Harvard University. In undergrad, there was no theater classes. There was theater, but it was all student produced.
I see. Okay.
So I did a lot of a good deal of that in college, and then afterwards came back here eventually and started being really interested in the combination of dance and theater. So I came back to do an internship at the Guthrie.
All right.
When Bill T. Jones was directing Derek Walcott's Man on Monkey Mountain. I think that's what it's called, Man on Monkey Mountain. And so I was really fascinated with that, and then started to just learn more and get more involved with the creative performance scene here. Meet more artists, meet more performing artists. At that time I was, and still am, very concerned with supporting and connecting with other Black and African American artists. And so, I started to just jump into the world and say yes.
Tell me about that though a little bit, if I can. And when you say that and say yes, tell me about that.
That looked to me like, getting a coffee shop job or, temp jobs, and then being an artist after work and around work, and then working less and less for the same amount of money so I could put more and more into art. And then meeting artists, inside of that art, meeting artists of all different kinds, and just vibing and saying, yes, I'm going to do, you want to do this kind of show, let's do it. You want to do this kind of show, let's do it. To dancers, to theater artists, to spoken word artists, to performance artists. I was doing some stage managing sometimes over at Penumbra Theater for a while. I was really interested in Patrick's Cabaret when that was jumping around that time. In one of its iterations, I think the second iteration, not its very first, but it's second iteration.
Okay.
When it was over on 24th and Phillips. Some through the Playwright Center,
So you're just
little
opening
things that were
yourself
at the
up to
Walker. Yeah.
things, and then you were saying yes
and then,
to it.
Yeah, and then I ended up in a group, a spoken word and music group. That was basically, we were like 3 musicians and 3 performers, primarily theater and performer, poet, and writers. It was called Arcology. And we did our own work, but then there were sort of grooves. We would find grooves and then do, in addition to our own work, we would cover Black Art Movement poetry as well.
Okay.
And just try to bring in, and Arcology comes from Lee Scratch Perry. There's a Lee Scratch Perry reference with E.G. Bailey and Murray Regulus and Jason Lund and oh my goodness, the bass player. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. His face is in front of me, but his name is not in my brain. Anyway, we were doing that for a while.
Okay, so that was an ongoing trio, you say?
It was a sextet.
Holy moly! All right.
Yes, we played
That's
like
serious,
more
like
clubs
organizing
and that kind of. Yeah, we were doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And that kind of was my transition into music on its own. Because I was singing along with reading and interpreting poetry. I ended up living renting from Douglas and Janice Ewart in South Minneapolis, and I think at that time I was like trying to look for a job, and I had been learning about and hearing more sort of standards, I guess since college, really attracted to like Nina Simone and Abby Lincoln and Billie Holiday, of course.
Oh, you mean like jazz standards, like
yes.
the tunes?
Learning about them. Yeah, I was never, I at that time I was learning some of them, but I never went out to go sing them necessarily.
You've never done that, took that part. Why is that? Because, I mean, just to say, I'm mental for that era and those tunes. Like, I spent time learning all those changes, and as part of such a unique American thing, you know, and...
Yeah, I guess as a feminist or a womanist, a lot of the music from that era was real pitiful in terms of how women were portrayed in relationship.
Oh, don't, yeah.
Or what women were supposed to do in relationship with, in this point it was assumed to be men. And then the other piece of it, so there was just a lot of tunes that would just, they wouldn't be able to like lift my heart. They were interesting, they were cool in a lot of ways, but I couldn't really sing them and feel good about them. It would be like advertising for something that you hate.
Yeah. I hear you.
And the other piece of it is, I mean, and this is part of my what has been my artistic and aesthetic, I don't know, I guess, I'm rubbing everything off. Conceit is I just was not interested in covering things that much.
Yeah.
The poetry I could stretch and move around and flip different things and do pieces of. And then I think sometimes I wasn't necessarily confident enough in my voice sometimes too.
Yeah.
So that combination made it more interesting for me to try to do something else. Or, I mean, the other piece of it was I just really was interested in, because I came from theater, in like a full spectrum of human experience. And so in that way would want not just pretty sounds, but also edgy sounds, also painful sounds, also crazy sounds. Also just the utterance of human speech
Mm-hmm.
and the musicality that people have when they speak or don't speak. And the different, I mean, I took Chinese and French when I was in school, high school. And Chinese especially is a super musical language.
Mm.
Like all of the change in tone
Mm-hmm.
totally changes the meaning of a word.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's a sort of a limited range, but you're effectively singing while you speak, which we actually already do.
Mm-hmm.
Just that some languages and some places when they do languages, it get a little bit more, you know, monotone than others. But
Mhm.
then, of course, everyone speaks differently, even using that tool and using the language. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, and you know, I was also at that time really interested in, and still am, and coming from sort of avant-garde Black ritual theater,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and had mentors like Laurie Carlos, Robbie McCauley from the sort of Ntozake Shange era. And so being able to just express the truth of your experience, which, of course, really for all people in the country, but certainly for Black people in the country, is not always something that singing is a smile about. You know, we have whole blues, and you know, we have gospel, we have, you know, all of Black music speaks to the whole range. But then I was also just really interested in texture and what my voice could do
Mm-hmm.
after being sort of initiated into thinking about the voice or music with a pretty wide frame of what
Mm-hmm.
the voice could do.
So curious for me, for someone who has, you know, specific work that they're interested in pursuing, do you find enough places to perform, enough outlets? Do you know what I mean? Like it can be that can be a real tricky part of doing your thing. The more focused you become sometimes, the less opportunities you can put yourself to. And I wonder if you've run into that and how you deal with it, or
Yes, I think that like many artists, we do a lot of different things.
mm-hmm.
I have sometimes produced my own self, and I think I'm often most successful in doing that, though I haven't really pursued like a band and then traveling and touring and those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I've worked with other musicians and other artists. I've been able to sing as part of sound scores,
Mm-hmm.
accompanying other artists. One of the most long-term ones was with Ananya Dance Theater. I was working with Greg Schutte on a lot of their dance scores.
Mm-hmm.
So there certainly is not enough in some ways, but then I also have been able to, you know, work with it, because when I was living with Douglas, he started to bring me to Chicago
Mm-hmm.
to work with AACM cats and to be at the Velvet Lounge, and and so I was able to meet a lot of amazing musicians and actually grow into a more mature. I think that's what I consider as like my graduate school, basically.
Okay, so you
my
spent
musical
time
graduate
inside
school.
of that, seeing with free players.
Oh yeah, that's all we did.
That's
pretty
heavy.
much, and that's where I learned to stretch and grow. I think
Mhm.
before doing that, and that was around 2000. I was
So that
doing
was
like
that was the era for
15-minute
that.
little things here and there,
Mhm.
like shows, like mostly like performance
Mhm.
art installations with some sound, but
Mhm.
in terms of soloing, in terms of playing with other free players, in terms of learning how to listen even
Mhm.
better. I mean, I think I was a good listener from music and from theater, but learning how to listen, learning how to take space, learning how to negotiate back and forth with the music,
That's
learning
all
how
so
to
huge. Yeah.
to even be able to not like the music inside of it and then find some, and to listen to the music differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to argue sometimes with the music and then come to love even the fact that you got a chance to argue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it stretched me to thinking about and engaging with music in many more sort of dimensions or holographically.
Mm-hmm.
Holograms don't have a lot of substance, so it's not that.
Not a lot.
No, so we need, because it definitely is a substance.
Yeah. I found that the first time that I spent time in that realm with free players, that for me, I found that anything that I thought that I knew how to do already was just not right there. Anything that I had to really bring just myself and leave any things I know. Yeah, because we all have our things, like that you know how to do and you're confident in. But I found that in that setting, that just wasn't. I remember thinking it was like children's music relative to something so robust. And did you find that because you had been doing a lot of singing before that time, or?
But I guess I never went to music school. So, and because I was in theater, I kind of came at the music with a desire to be more of a channel. And so in that way, I didn't have any kind of expectations, and I didn't sing a lot of tunes, and I didn't necessarily even have a robust solo music at home practice because I was really performance focused. So I was out performing and building performances.
Yeah.
So really, I was definitely afraid, but it very quickly turned into an excitement about, okay, we're here for the music. And that was the thing that was the most exciting to me, is that we're not here for our egos, we're not here for, and sometimes we have days, always, we have moments. But we're not here to make any particular thing happen, we're here to find out what we're going to make together and make that, and that there won't be another one of those. And so in that way,
that being said, though, they must have just loved having you there.
Oh yeah,
the
we had a good
human
time.
voice.
We had a good time. But
and the way you work, I mean, they must have just
But I was
spoiled,
though. I got to work with Dee Alexander and Duriel Harris. So Duriel sings, and Dee does some language. But I think I was the most hybrid. But the three of us were like the triplets.
That's even better. Yeah.
I was a little hybrid person who did the poetry and singing, and then both of them had their majesties of their own. And so it was
all right. Now I see that. Yeah.
So
that's
the three of
solid.
us got to play. So, and I got to be spoiled by musicians who were accustomed to playing with the voice.
Yeah, that's
great.
great.
But I think we're almost.
I think we are. Yeah, it's time for you to do your thing. I would just want to say, Mankwe, thanks for everything, coming and playing. And I think I speak for a lot of folks of look forward to what you're going to do tonight, but also when you're mentioning yourself as a producer of ideas of what you would present that way.
I'm going to be doing Great Black Music Mondays at the Ice House in December.
All right.
All December, those Monday night improv, musical sessions. They want us to all be improv, but heavily oriented that way. And those are usually at 9:30, except on the 9th, where I think they have somebody coming in nationally for the late set. So we'll be at like 7 o'clock.
Oh, earlier. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
and I'm still solidifying the lineup, so I can't tell you exactly what those are yet. But when those come out,
well, I'll look for
out
those
there.
and wish you well on them.
Yeah,
so thanks again. I'll let you get set up a little bit for your performance. We arrive once again at Terminus. The Khyber Pass podcast has completed this journey with Mankwe Ndosi. An immense natural talent, sharing her solo performance at the Khyber Pass Cafe Thursday night, where we present adventures in improvisation. As always, this podcast is supported by the Khyber Pass Cafe. I have been your host, Paul Metzger, and I thank you once again for being an interested listener. What lies just behind the performer of improvised music? Next week, another journey into sound. Until that time, thank you.